will be starting with today's class. And this part, business environment, is not in continuation with your topic which you were studying, but then this is the part which you will be studying in later units. So today I'm covering this because to be very honest, tomorrow I have an exam. So I thought, why not combine today's class? Because anyways, business environment, you people will also be studying after 2 to 3 chapters. So I thought, let me just cover this topic, and so that I get time also to study. So before wasting too much time, let me just start with business environment. You need not make any notes because I'm uploading. And are you also seeing that I am constantly uploading the videos also? So did you see the app?
Yes, ma'am.
What about you both?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so if you have not seen, just go and check your app. You will be able to access the videos of economics. Okay.
Ma'am,
So yeah.
I'm having some issues in the application.
Oh, that we will discuss later, है ना? We'll
Yeah.
discuss. And whenever you face any issue, because app is new, there will be some updates and stuff. So whenever there is an issue in the application, kindly keep the screenshot so that I send it to the tech team. They ask for the screenshot.
Okay.
Okay. So let me just proceed with today's class. Today, so we are going to study business environment. In the last class with you both, I have discussed what is business. I discussed 3 things, that we can have either business, we can have either profession, we can have employment. And also I discussed economic activities and non-economic activities. So all these things I have discussed. So now, what is business? So since you all know the concept of economic activities and non-economic activities. So when I talk about business, business is an economic activity which is related with continuous production of goods and services for satisfying human wants. So I hope this statement is very clear to all of you, because now you are understanding each and every meaning of the concepts which are coming here. Business is an economic activity. What does that mean? Economic activity means that the main objective of business is to earn profit. And it is related to continuous production of goods and services. Last class, we also did that one of the features of business is why people do business, because they're either manufacturing goods or services, or they are rendering services to satisfy wants of human beings. And those human beings buy those goods and services from the specific businesses by giving money in return. And when they buy the goods and services, why they are buying goods and services? Because they have to satisfy their human wants. Okay. So now, what are the various other things which can be done in the business? First is exchange of goods and services. Then there are certain businesses which does not produce goods and services. They are just dealing in transactions. For example, if you look at IRCTC app, Indian Railways app, there is no goods and services there. Okay, the service is rendered when you are actually using when you're traveling in the train, but there is only exchange, like it's only booking kind of transactions there. Then there are other various there are various other service, there are various other portals where you just transact in the nature of information. There may various government portals and there are various private company portals where you just go there to get an information or to do certain transactions, like just paying fees, or maybe you can just go on an education consultancy website and just get some information. So those types of things. Again, profit is the main objective. So whatever is happening, profit is the main objective. And the fourth point is risk and uncertainties. Whenever you hear the word business, remember business has lots of risks and uncertainties. So what I am trying to tell here, these points, I'm breaking this paragraph into various things what are involved. Business always involves two people, buyer and seller. If there is only seller or the producer who is manufacturing goods and services, but there is no buyer of that goods and services, then it cannot be called as a business. Okay, so business is always two-sided. There should be two parties. There should be one buyer and there should be one seller. The next is marketing and distribution of goods and services. Every business needs marketing and distribution of goods and services, because goods and services, when it is produced in a factory, it does not have legs. It cannot walk and go to the customers. So a businessman has to market and distribute the goods and services so that the prospective buyers or the prospective customers gets to know about that goods and services. That is why every company engages in various types of advertisement, whether it can be TV advertisement, it can be radio advertisement, it can be billboards, it can be flyers, it can be pamphlets, it can be anything. And why all these business activities are done? Why buyers and sellers engage together? To satisfy human wants. Now, both the human wants. For a businessman, the want is profit or money or wealth. And for the buyer, the want is what? The need for the goods and services. And for seller, the want is the want of profit or money. And businesses creates social obligation, because business, what does the word social obligation means? Social obligation means that the one who is doing the business, the one who is performing the business, who's engaged in business, they should carry on the business for a legal, they should comply with all the legal formalities. They should do the business with ethics. They should be socially responsible. So let me just give you example. All the companies registered in India and they are having a paid up capital, a certain paid up capital, they are required to do CSR activities. What is CSR? Does anyone know the full form of CSR? CSR means corporate social responsibility. Okay, so they have to do some corporate, they have to do some social services, social service. Like, for example, planting trees or, building schools, anything for the benefit of society. Because business cannot be just established to run profits. Now, there is one case, we all know McDonald's, right? So in America, the research showed that the obesity among youth and children were happening just because they were consuming a lot of fries and burgers. So now the McDonald's was asked that they should be publishing, as a part of their social responsibility, they should be publishing, even not just McDonald's, even all the companies. If you look at the chips packet, you look at Kurkure packet, any eatables, they have to publish how much fat is contained, how much carbohydrates is, how much carbohydrate it contains, how much sugar it contains, whether it contains maida, whether it contains some allergic content like nuts. Some people are allergic to nuts and dairy products. So all these things, they have to put it in their, they have to display all the information, because business cannot be just done to earn profits, to get from the society. They have to give back also to the society. They have, if there is certain harm associated with consuming that product, that also should be mentioned. So that is why when you go and watch a movie, have you gone and seen a movie in a theater? Yes. If you have seen a movie in the theater, the very first ad, what comes? What does it come? Do you remember? They show about the alcohol and the cigarette, that how consuming that is very harmful to the health. And all the companies, so there are certain companies which does produce products which, when consumed in long term harms the health. So those type of companies, when they market their products, they have to give a disclaimer that, like, whenever you see all those thing. It has to, whenever there is a picture in while you're watching a movie also, whenever there is a smoking scene or there is an alcohol consumption scene, they will write in the movie itself, it will come that smoking cigarette and consuming alcohol is harmful to the health, because they are directed by the Censor Board of India to write all those things, so that people watching the movie, they just do not get fantasized by the idea of drinking or smoking, but people should be made aware at the same time that it is harmful to the health. Even now, you see that many people, many youth, children, everyone is on OTT. You know what is OTT? Netflix, Amazon, all these things are OTT. And even you watch a series or movie, there also they have to make people aware for whom is that content for. So you can see on the top left corner, they will write if there is violence, if there is any such kind of things, then it will be for A. A means it's for adult. So it's written there that children below 18 should not be watching that. But it is at your discretion whether you watch it or not, but they are made socially responsible to display all such things. So whenever a businessman is doing business in a society, they just don't have to earn profits, but they have to also be very aware that they do not break any social rules. It should be ethical. It should comply with all the legal formalities of the country where they are conducting that business. So that is the meaning of social obligation. Now, why all these things happen? Why all these 8 features? Because business does not function in an isolation. Okay, business does not function in isolation. Are the businessmen doing business just to earn profits in isolation? If it is in isolation, who will buy their products? Yes, it does not function in isolation or in vacuum. Imagine a business in moon. No one stays there. You have a very good idea. In moon, there are no apartments or societies. There are no human beings. So the best idea is, wow, I can start a business there. Isolation, vacuum. With all the learnings I have made on Earth, today I'll go on moon, and I get an offer by the Tesla director, Elon Musk. I get an offer to start my venture in the moon. But can I do it? No. It's an isolated place. It's vacuum. So business is done in a place where there are buyers for that products or commodities. And whenever there are people involved, whenever a business, whenever there are things around business, so right now I'm not using technical words, I'm just putting it very basic so that it gets onto you, into your heads easily. So whenever there are people involved, whenever the society involved, there will be some problems. And that problems can be internal or external to the business. Okay. So when there is business, like we as human beings, the day we were born, we are born with problem. When you were toddler, your biggest problem was you were not able to speak. You were not able to eat on your own. You were not able to take care of yourself. Then slowly when you went to school, your biggest problem was you were not able to write. Okay, so I'm not elaborate. I hope you understood what I meant to say. So even for a business, there are problems, and that 2 problems can be internal or it can be external. I will be elaborating on detail later what is internal and external. So right now, just keep it till here. And these internal and external factors collectively constitute a business environment. So this is business of selling goods and services. And when we combine the business with the internal and external factors, this whole thing is called business environment. Like we are human beings. We are living on planet Earth. We are living here. So we are surrounded by environment. Everything which we are surrounded by is called environment. Do you agree to this? So similarly for the business, apart from producing goods and services, they survive in a given environment. And with the environment, there will be two things coming to them, that can be internal and external problems. Not only problems, I'm not telling that internal and external is just a problem. It can be anything. This internal and external can offer strength to a business. It can be a weakness to a business. It can offer opportunities to a business. It can offer threat to a business. This is called SWOT. I will come to it later. So what is environment? Environment refers to the system in which human beings live. Just now I told you. And they have to adjust themselves according to it. So its surroundings, external agents, influences, or circumstances under which something exists. So similarly, we human beings also, when we are thriving in this environment, we have all the four things to us: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. Like, just to give you a very basic example, some of you are just sitting at home right now. Your classes are not going on. So what did you tap in this particular given environment? You tapped into the opportunity of online learning and making use of your time. That is the opportunity you tapped. This opportunity is strengthening your strength muscle, so that all this opportunity you are converting into strength, because after 2 months, you will be at a better knowledge position than those who will be starting just after 2.5 months. Getting it? And what can be your threat? If you're not doing anything, sitting at home, watching only Instagram reels and watching movie, what will be doing? You will be draining your energy. You will be actually wasting your time. So it is on you how you are using the environment. Okay. Similarly for the business. So what is business environment? It can be defined as the aggregate of all those forces, factors, and institutions which directly affect the working of a business organization. So all the factors, institutions which directly affect the working of business organization is called business environment. Slowly you will be coming across new terms. So it will become all the more simpler. Now, some of the factors which are present in the business environment, some of the factors might be static, while others might be constantly changing. For example, what does the word static mean? Static means it will be the same. Okay. For example, and while some other things may be changing. Like, what changes very fast is technology. What changes very fast is technology. Okay. So we have here 4 definitions of business environment. Whichever you feel easy, you can just pick it up and write it in your exam. Business environment is the aggregate of all conditions, events, and influences that surround and affect the business. Business environment encompasses the climate or set of conditions, economic, social, political, or institutional, in which business operations are conducted. The third definition is the term business environment of a company is defined as all the pattern of external influences that affects its life and development. And the fourth one is the total of all things external to firms and industries that affect the functions of organization is called a business environment. For me, if you ask, I feel this definition is the best, the first one. What is business environment? To the point. Business environment is the aggregate of all the conditions. What does the word aggregate mean? Aggregate means sum total. Aggregate of all conditions, events, and influences. So how do you learn a definition easily? Business environment is the sum total of CEI. Try to make mnemonics. It's called mnemonics when you make short forms. Or if you don't like this CEI, you can make it a CIE. Some of you can remember CIE, which means continuous internal evaluation. That's an exam pattern also. So business environment is the aggregate of CIE. What is CIE? Conditions, influences, and events that surround and affect the business. Easy? Okay. So you can pick up any definition. Then moving on to the next part. I have purposely written three things here because different book has different names written to it. In examination, any of these three can be asked, and you should be familiar with the alternate names. Now you are in standard 11 and 12, so all you should be, your knowledge should be little more advanced than what you were doing in up till 10th standard. Okay, so we'll be studying what are the characteristics. It can be also called as nature. It can be also called as feature, anything. Business environment is very complicated, dynamic, multidimensional, and it affects different business institutions in different ways. So now I'll be elaborating on that. The first one is complex. Why business environment is complex? Because environment comprises of many factors, and all these factors are related to each other. Therefore, their individual effect on business cannot be recognized. This is perhaps the reason which makes it difficult for a business to face them. Again, now just take an example. We all know our Indian economy or Indian market, and shares are the, share prices reflect the health of an economy. Okay, you must be seeing news, and below the news, all those, you would have seen the shares, some in green, some in red. Have you seen that? So green ones are the shares where the companies which are making, profits, or the share prices are increasing, that is in green, and the red one is the share prices which are decreasing. Because Indian economy is made up of various institutions and business. And if the businesses are in Indian territory is doing well, that means Indian economy is doing well. Now, suddenly something happens. There is some political disturbance and all the share prices starts falling. Or something happens in the economy and all the share prices starts falling. Now, this particular thing is complex because it is actually very difficult to pinpoint that what led to the prices falling or anything. Suddenly a company's market share or a company's, what to say, like for example, just take a company, for a PepsiCo company, suddenly the sales of all the chips packets goes down. Now the company will have, it's complex. The company will have to understand that what made the sales to go down. They have to identify the various factors what led to the decline in sale. Maybe someone just posted a viral YouTube video that in the packet of chips, worms were there. Generally, this was a viral video for this that one company which had that dip tea. In that, someone just put a viral video on YouTube. They had just opened the, you have seen how a dip tea is there, right? It is in that tissue packet kind of thing, which dissolves into the hot water. I think it was Lipton or some company. It was lemon tea. And they made a viral video where they just opened the packet and they were seeing white elements, and they put it under microscope and just made it very clear that it was worms. And then the company decoded it, and they just went through the video, and so yeah, what happened? The sales went down. This way. So the company investigated the cause, and they got to know that someone has put a video, and then they saw that video. They worked upon the thing, and then they discovered and they made it clear that it was not the worms. It was because that was a lemon dip tea. So that white things were the lemon essence. It was not the worms. So now, if the company does not decode that what made the sales go down, the company can even shut down. So sometimes business is complex. It has many factors, and every time they have to keep a note of what's going correct, what's going wrong, because business is dynamic. It keeps changing. Okay, I came to the next point. What does the word dynamic mean? Dynamic means that something is not static. For example, if a car is parked, it is static. If the car is running on the road, then it is dynamic because it's changing its place. So similarly, businesses are never static. It's dynamic. It keeps on producing goods. It keeps on encountering problem. It keeps on, making opportunities for themselves. So it is clear that environment is a mixture of many factors, and changes in some or the other factors continue to take place. Some or the other thing in business will keep on changing. It cannot be static. Now just imagine when Reliance company was set up, it was selling petroleum products and it was into textile and garments. Now, do you think now in 2024, Reliance is just making petroleum and selling textiles? We all know Reliance. It is into everything, what not, financial products. It is selling footwears, it's selling, it's selling apparels. It is also selling various food commodities. It has stores. Take a name, it's even selling jewelry. So take a name and it's there. So business is not static, it's dynamic. Things keep on changing. It's not like that they would have never gone wrong. They would have encountered various encountered various threats in their business. Okay. Now, uncertain. One of the main part of business is that it is uncertain. You never know what can happen tomorrow. You never know what can happen tomorrow. And this is the thing which is not in employment and profession. Uncertainty is not attached with employment and profession, but it is attached with business, because business is based on risk, and risk comes from uncertainty. You never know what might happen tomorrow, and then the business might start facing threats. For example, a competitor has come up with something, a new commodity, which is much better than the previous one. Now, I'll give you a very classic example. I think you people were not even born that time. I don't know if you have seen those cameras. When we were young, when we were very small, we did not have mobile phones. So our generation, like we saw mobile phones only, I think when we were 16, 17, that was the time when mobile phones had just entered the market. Okay, that GSM SIMs were there and all that stuff. So there was that small cameras where we used to purchase the rolls and we used to put the rolls, and we used to click photographs. So that was the Kodak company. But then with the advent of, there was an advent of digital cameras. So when we were in college time, then digital cameras came into the market. And that time phones did not have camera. And even if that phones had cameras, they had very low megapixel, 2 megapixel or 3 megapixel. So we have even seen that kind of phone. Now, so Kodak was hit by digital camera business, and digital camera business was hit by smartphones, because the upgraded smartphones now have 48 megapixels, 64 megapixels, both in selfie camera and in the back camera. So businesses are uncertain. You never know what might happen. There can be a opportunity, there can be a threat. So if there is an opportunity, the business must understand and tap into that opportunity. And if there is a threat which is coming due to its competitors, then the business has to mitigate that threat. Otherwise, it will lose its sales to the competitors. So nothing can be said without any amount of certainty about the factors of business environment, because they continue to change quickly. And that is why it is uncertain. It changes rapidly. The professional people who determine the business strategy take into consideration the likely changes beforehand. So the professional people here are the managers. The managers have to keep on reevaluating the business strategies, because businesses run on strategies. Reliance company itself does not have its brain. Reliance company is running because there are some managers behind it, there are some executives behind it who are giving their, who are using their brains and developing strategies and implementing them in the business. That is why the company is making profit. Then the next one is businesses are multidimensional. Business environment is related to local conditions, and this is the reason why the business environment happens to be different in different countries and different even in the same country at different places. Now, this I'll give you a very nice example. Why the business is multidimensional? For a same company, it will have different products in different regions. To give you an example, your favorite, take Domino's or McDonald's. McDonald's sells beef and it uses beef and pork in foreign countries, but it cannot use beef and pork in Indian market. It can only use chicken because chicken is something which all the Indians like. It is a taboo. And also not pork they can sell because pork is a taboo. Pork is taboo for Islamic people. They eat beef. For them, pork is taboo. But in Christianity, if I'm not wrong, both beef and pork is not a taboo. In Hinduism, both of it. In Hinduism, I think everything is taboo. I mean, everything is taboo because it's like the principle of non-violence and everything is a taboo. But still, it is not against, beef and pork is against, beef is against religious sentiments because we consider cow as our, what? Cow as our mother, right? Go Mata, we call it, right? Now, here, even if you see in the country, again, in India, we have two types of people. We have vegetarians and we have non-vegetarians. To serve the vegetarian people, so if they have to serve only, if they serve only chickens, then they cannot cater to the vegetarian. Then they cannot cater to the vegetarian segment. So what we all know that for vegetarians, the substitute for chicken is paneer. Yes or no? And then again, flavor customizations also happen according to the regions. If you go to south of India, or if you go to north of India, again, like just giving an example, in MTR sells its, they have variety of sambar masalas and they sell something called podis. You must be familiar, podi powder that they sell in south of India. But that thing will not work in north of India because people do not consume podi with idli and dosa. They consume only sambar and chutneys. So if they start selling podis, North Indian won't even know what is that. So no one will pick up also from the racks until unless there is a group of South Indians there and they will only buy. Same for gobi Manchurian masala for all those things. Gobi Manchurian is not a very common item of North India, but in South everyone loves gobi Manchurian. So here people only know about veg Manchurian. So all these customizations are done. Now when I went to Bali, there I saw, like generally when we tell Fanta, what color comes to your mind? Orange. So we only know orange flavor Fanta. But when I went to Bali, their Fanta was pink in color. So I was like, oh, this is the Fanta. In India, we have orange in color, it's pink. Because there people love that cherry and apple flavor. So there they are selling that. Then here Lay's, we know only 4 to 5 colors. We know Indian Magic Masala, then we know the red one, which is the tomato one. Then we know the green one, which is, sour cream and cheese. Then we know the orange, which is Mexican. Did I miss any color? Okay, so these three are the famous ones. But when you go to those island countries, they have this seaweed flavor. Okay, so that seaweed is like it comes from the coral reefs or what? That's one flavor. So there they sell it because people actually consume that. So they love that flavor. But it does not sell in India. So these companies will have to understand what flavors or what type of products people love, and then they have to make products according to them. So that is why it is called multi-dimensionals, because business has to understand the dimensions in various countries, and also sometimes countries have to customize so much that they have to create different products for even local people. Now, another example I would want to give you, for big companies like Hindustan Unilever. Now they generally they make shampoo with big bottles, but they understood that in Indian villages where people's economic status is little to the poorer side, people cannot afford big shampoo bottles. So they have to redefine the strategies, and they have to just come out with one rupee shampoo sachets, small soap of 5 rupees, so that even poorer sections in the economy can avail it. So that is why business is multidimensional, because it has to understand the needs. See, the whole idea of goods and services is based on needs. And there are different kinds of people living in a society. Some are very rich, some are poor, some are middle class, some are very poor, some are below the poverty line. So only when the business understands the need of each and every segment, it can actually succeed. But contradictory to this view, there are certain business which only caters to the rich people. For example, Rolls-Royce cars, Mercedes cars. They do not have economy segment cars. They have only premium segment cars. Harley-Davidson bike. It only has premium segment bikes. But if you look at this Maruti company, it has cars for all the ranges. Understood? So that depends upon business strategies, which market they want to cater, and what is their strategy. Now, then the next point is interdependent components. The different factors of business environment are correlated. For example, the change in import-export policy with the coming of new government. In this case, the coming of new government to power and change in the import and export policy are political and economic changes respectively. Thus, a change in one factor affects the other factor. Now, one real example. This time when the budget was released, our government declared the need for, not the need for promoting the solar power. Now, what will this declaration have its impact on? As soon as the government declared that it will now increase more production of solar power, instantly the next day, all the renewable energy companies' shares went up, like NHPC and all those who are in this green energy, the shares went up. It was a government decision. It impacts both economy. It impacts the economy. It impacts the businesses. It impacts everything. So now, as soon as I finish this chapter, these features will become all the more clear as in what I'm trying to say. Because when I talk about components, here you will have all these internal and external environment. Okay. The next thing is, okay, here I'll just pause once. Do you have any doubts? You can switch on your mics and interact. Is the thing getting clear?
Yes.
Okay. So mainly I'm asking others, Srinija and Anandini. It's fine because you are very new to the world of commerce. So I don't want that it should go above your head. Okay. Now coming to the next part, that is importance and significance. Now, why is business environment important? So you can get a question on the words they can use is importance or significance or benefits or advantages. Anything they can use. It means all the same. If you've understood a concept, then whatever word they are using, you can actually write the answer. So just focus on understanding the concepts, not just, mugging the answer. You will never go wrong in the examination. So business and its environment are closely interrelated and mutually interdependent. It's closely related and it is mutually dependent on each other. Okay. Environment has its bearing on business and business has its bearing on environment. So both business and environment, they are interrelated with each other and they are mutually dependent on each other, both. The success of business lies in understanding the environmental changes and adapting its business policies accordingly. So a company cannot tell that I am going to make my goods in isolation. Whatever I want, I will make it. Whoever wants to purchase, purchase. Whoever does not want to purchase, don't purchase. Business can't do that. So all the environment factors, the various factors which I will be discussing with you all, it has to be taken into consideration. Now, what is the importance? Because the surrounding of the business environment, it is constantly changing. That is what I tell, that the business is dynamic. It is constantly changing. And it carries with them, when it is changing, anything which is changing can cause two things. It can cause opportunities or it can cause threats. Threats in the form of risks and uncertainties, which can make or mar the future of business. Make means it can lead into profits, and mar means that it can lead into losses, the future of business. Significance of the study of the environment in the business sector may be explained as follows. Now, to give you an example of a constantly changing thing, recently, many car companies launched electronic vehicles, electronic cars, electronic bikes, electronic scooters. Now, if one company starts producing it, and other, like suppose there is company A and there is company B. Company A has come up with a new electronic vehicle and the market is loving it. And the company B tells, I don't care about what company A is doing. I will make my vehicle only, perfect it, and keep on upgrading it. Now, do you think B will survive? B will not survive. Because if people are loving EV, and if B is not coming up with this new product, then slowly the sales of B will also go to the customers of B will go to A. So this will lead to mar in profits. Mar means decline of future business. Now, what happened when Patanjali products were launched? All the FMCG companies were selling their products at double the rate. So when Patanjali came, it came with a very nominal price. And then all the companies, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, all these FMCG companies, FMCG is fast mover consumer goods, which produces day-to-day products. Sorry, I'm just using some jargons. I keep on forgetting in between that I'm not teaching a school student, I'm teaching college student. The FMCG is fast moving consumer goods. Okay. What is fast moving consumer goods? Which produces day-to-day products, which you see in the shopping mall, generally in the eating section. And Patanjali came with very low profits. And slowly they had to decline the prices. The other companies, Dabur, Unilever, Hindustan Unilever, these are the names of companies. You must be seeing the brands, Lux. You must be seeing the brand Surf Excel. Many such products. They had to reduce the price because Patanjali came with very low prices. Okay. So early identification of opportunities helps a business organization to be the first to exploit them. So if you identify some opportunity and if you start making products and services accordingly, you will be the first one to capture the business. Then second, a business organization should make its policies keeping in view the demands of the environment. Then third, the study of business environment is important to ensure optimum utilization of resources like financial resources, human resources, and physical resources. What is optimum utilization? Now, giving you an example, what happens to the toothpaste when it gets over? Have you ever squeezed the last part out of it? Try to do that. How many of you have just cut the toothpaste from between and squeezed out the last part of it? Anything. It can be glue, it can be toothpaste, or it can be some of your favorite beauty product, which you wouldn't have liked it. Or how many of you had that small ice cream cup And in your childhood, we all have done that. We have even used our tongue for optimum utilization. So that's actually optimum utilization. So it utilize each and every part of it. So similarly in business, various kinds of resources are used. Financial, money. Whenever you are putting money, you would want to juice out every bit and part of the money. When you watch a movie, you have put a money, you bought a 500 rupees ticket. You don't leave it even if you don't like the movie, you don't come out of the movie. You sit for you sit and wait for the last part to get over because you want optimum utilization of the money. You even eat the last popcorn which is there. Until unless you have got something for free. Free things are always not valued, it's discarded. Okay. Then human resources. Human resources are the people working in an organization, labor. So if suppose a business has employed 10 workers, the business would want that all the 10 workers should work in the organization. Not that there will be a group of 2 to 3 people and they're doing some chatting and they're discussing their personal household affairs in the business. The business will not allow. And physical resources. Physical resources are the raw materials and the various other components which are used in the business. They would want that it should be get used effectively. Just look at just if you're not able to understand or able to relate the logic of business, then you can just imagine your mother when she cooks at home or when she does her work. Just imagine whether she is doing it in an optimum way or not. You would have heard so much of dialogue, don't waste, don't throw, because you want optimum utilization. Environment analysis helps the business organization. Why environment analysis is needed? Why we should analyze the business environment? Because with that we can identify strength and weakness. Business environment. So this environment analysis here means business environment. Why should we study business environment? Why are we doing business environment? So we are studying the important. Environment analysis helps the business organization to identify threats and explore opportunities. So like how an environment can offer strength and weakness, it can also offer opportunities and threats. So I gave you a mnemonic or short form SWOT. What is SWOT? Strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. So S opportunities gets converted into strength. If you are able to tap into the opportunities, that becomes the business strength. And if there is any threat in the business environment and if the business is not doing anything about it, then that threat will lead to the weakness in future. Just an example of A and B. If B is not making, the A has launched its competitors a new product, electronic vehicle. So this is a strength for A. It has launched a new product and people are liking it. But for B, it has noticed that this has happened in the business environment and B is not thinking about it. B is not deciding to do anything about it. So this is a threat, future threat, that the customers of B will go to A. And if they do not do anything about this threat, then this will lead to weakness in the form of loss of profits. Then environment analysis helps in adapting latest technological development, which results in improved efficiency. So technology is a part of business environment. We'll come to that later. We all know technology. Come on, you people are born in an age where you are actually living with technology. Some people are actually operating their life on technology. Alexa wakes them up. Alexa tells them what to do. Mobile gives them notification. People set their exam timetable on mobile. And this happened to me. This can also be a disadvantage. When we were kids, where we were making our timetables on paper and sticking it on wall. Last time when I gave my examination, we have got so used to mobile notification. I'm just giving you an example. I also stopped making those timetable and I keep on giving exams every 6 months. So I was so relying on my examination notification. So when I had filled the examination dates. So I remembered each and every examination date on my mind, and somehow my last examination was on 14th, but then 14th of December, but then I had registered in the mind as 15th. And I relied on mobile notifications because every time there is an examination, the notification comes on mobile. So by mistake, I had said that in my mobile also, as wrongly I had entered as 15th. I did not do any checks. And also the university gives a reminder call that tomorrow you have an examination. That paper is a distance learning. It's an online mode learning. So they send a reminder. So I was so much dependent upon the technology that I did not look at the notification. I mean, I did not, and for all the 4 exams, I got notifications and reminder calls. But the 5th examination where I said it wrongly and I was dependent upon notification, 14th, when the exam was actually there, I was happily decorating and arranging my room. I did not even know that 9 o'clock, wow, the exam had started. I was nicely cleaning this table where I was supposed to give the exam. And 15th, nicely, I just sat to, I sat and I made my login at 8:55 a.m. for the 9 o'clock exam. And wow, the message is your examination is already over. Like when I logged in, the exam is already over. And then I went and checked into the notification. I checked into the email and I saw the exam was on 14th. So this can be one advantage of technology. It can be a disadvantage of technology. Okay. So now scanning the business environment helps to understand the political situation and its effect on business. So all these words, what you're seeing now, political, technological, economic, international, all these will be factors. So later when you will be covering all the factors, then these points will become very easy for you to, it will become very easy to connect the dots and to remember each and every point. Because all these words are your big paragraphs in the next topic. So scanning the business environment helps to understand economic policies of the government and their impact on the business. If a government comes up with a new economic policy, if the business does not comply with that economic policy, first of all, it will become illegal. And it might get a good bashing from a government also. Okay. Also, business, when we talk about business, now business is not just related to India. The country sells its product to other countries also. That's called trade with other countries. So that's called globalization, where India interact with other countries and other countries buys and sells to India, and India buys and sells to other countries. So that's called globalization. And India, there are many companies, like for example, you call it as a Tata Group or you call it as an Infosys Group. They are not just present in India, they are present all throughout the globe. And that's called globalization. I am just using very basic words for you. I'm not using definitions of globalization for you, right? So because of globalization and its impact on international events on business is increasing, to understand the global events and their impact on business, study of international environment is must. Recently, 2 countries had war between them. Can you tell me which 2 countries had war between them?
Ukraine and Russia. UK, Russia.
That is one war, Ukraine and Russia, and another war,
Israel and Palestine.
Israel and Palestine. So last year we had Israel and Palestine, and before that we had Ukraine and Russia. Now, don't you think it's going to affect all the companies throughout the globe? Yes. The first price what starts getting affected is the oil price, petroleum price. Okay, so these are some impacts of globalization, because each and every country is present throughout the world, and any such thing, Gulf countries, from there all the crude oil supply comes. So when there is a war there, it will lead to an effect in crude oil, and that will trickle down to the various countries, because every country depends upon them. Most of the countries, not every country, most of the countries depend upon the Gulf for the crude oil requirement, because crude oil only gets converted into various things like petrol, diesel, aviation fuel, all that thing. And by environmental analysis, business organizations come to know about the strategies of competitors to formulate counter plans, because even competition is one part of the business. Now just imagine you as a student. If you have to compete with the class topper, don't you create strategies for yourself? You create study plan. You must be thinking, okay, what is that student doing where she's doing well in the exam or why he's doing well in the exam? So even for businesses, they have to look at their counterparts, their activities very closely. So what strategies are they following? What are they up to? We as human beings also have to do that, and we as businesses also have to do the similar things. They have to constantly look at what the other people are also doing, because that might harm them or that might give them an opportunity. Sometimes it can be vice versa. If their competitor is affected, then they might come out with an ad where they start showing themselves in a better position. So when Maggie was being called as unhealthy, Top Raymond came up with an ad that it is healthy. You understood the meaning of it? When Maggie was being called as unhealthy, then Top Raymond came up with an ad that it is healthy to tap this opportunity. Then Maggie understood and it's redefined its strategies, and then it changed its tagline to taste be, health be. And then they launched the Atta noodles because people were criticizing Maggie for maida content in it. Understood? Also, environment analysis helps in understanding the market conditions. That is the change in demand, supply, change in fashion, taste, whether the economy is in boom phase or depression phase. Boom phase is when the prices are rising. Boom phase is when people are purchasing more and the economy is prospering. That is boom phase. And depression phase is when the prices are rising and people are, it's like a sluggish economy. For example, COVID time throughout the world, each and every country was in a depression phase because there were no transactions happening. Businesses were not happening. Okay. So even countries were in depression and even people were in depression because they were not able to interact with others. I hope all of you remember that phase of online classes when you have to study everything from home. You don't get to see your friends, you did not get to see your teachers, you don't get to see classrooms. Were you enjoying that phase? No. So even business needs a boom phase where it interacts with various buyers and sellers for it to grow. Okay, we have just 5 minutes left, and then even before the meeting gets over, I am just reminding you. So I think we'll be just covering this SWOT. What is SWOT? So now I just told you businesses needs to study its environment, and businesses monitor the environment. I have already introduced it to the word or the concept of SWOT, SWOT. So what are they basically analyzing? Why are we studying business? Why are we analyzing business? To actually monitor these four things, four parameters, SWOT. So there's a close and continuous interaction between the business and its environment. There's a close and continuous interaction because they are mutually dependent and interdependent on each other. So it is essential to understand and scan the environment. We regularly scan our digital devices now to see if there is any virus attack. So we do some scanning. We do our health scanning also. I mean, not you people, but generally people who cross 25 years, 30 years of age, they start going and do a scan. Okay, if not that, then sometimes when you are facing any problem, if you have an ear problem, you will go to an ENT doctor and see, get it scanned, what is happening there. If you're getting some frequent stomach ache, you will go to a doctor and doctor will write ultrasound and they will scan your stomach. Okay, so similarly, SWOT analysis is an analysis undertaken by business firms. So who does this analysis? So there is no health checkup firm for businesses. Businesses have to do it on their own. Business firm to understand their external and internal environment. And the term SWOT consists of four words. S stands for strength, W stands for weakness, O stands for opportunities, and T stands for threat. And SWOT analysis is applied. Why this is applied? Why you have to understand whether it is happening, offering strength, it is offering opportunities, weakness, or threats, because It is applied to formulate effective organizational strategies. So based on all these parameters, business will have to keep on changing its strategies. Why? Because I said business is not static. It keeps on changing based on the factors. Through SWOT analysis, the business firms can match their strength and weakness existing with the organization with the opportunities and threats existing in the external environment. Okay. So today I will not explain you what is internal and external environment. Just okay, in this basic, I'll just explain you what is internal and external environment. Like for example, just understand human body. So if suppose we are facing stomach ache, we are facing headache, so that means there is something wrong inside me, that is internal. I can't see what is causing me headache. The headache can be due to excessive work. It can be due to excessive stress. It can be due to excessive, I would have got too tired. It can also happen because of eating disorders, gastric issues, anything. And external, for example, I got hurt by someone. I mean, someone just hurt me on my head. Someone just hit me on my head and it's paining. Or something fell down. I'm standing under a tree and an apple or a coconut fell down. So that's external, right? So that is the thing. I'm feeling very hot because of the scorching sun. That is external. So that is internal and external. So I'll be just stopping here. And do you have any doubts? You want to ask anything? No. So just I want to quickly know whether am I going very slow, am I going fast, or you're able to understand anything you want to tell me, feedback? Or it's crystal clear, it's going smooth.
Just little fast.
Oh, it's fast.
A little fast.
Actually, little fast. Okay, so in that case, you just tell me, ma'am, this point, please repeat it, kindly repeat it. So that's what about Srinija and Anandini?
Yes, ma'am, able to go with the pace.
Okay. And Anandini?
Able to understand, ma'am.
So I hope things are not going above your head, because somewhere, okay, I'm realizing, if somewhere I realize, okay, I've used technical jargon like FMCG order, then I realize, oh, okay, I'm teaching school students, I'm teaching school students who have just entered commerce field or 1 year. So, okay, fine. So in that case, whenever I use something, a word, you need not hesitate that, okay, how should I ask? Just ask. Okay, just ask. So is it interesting? Rohan, I want especially feedback from you. What about you?
It's
Are you
interesting.
are you getting some examples, relevant examples?
Yeah.
And like, do you,
Examples, it's very interesting.
Hannah?
Yes.
So in schools, they don't give such examples.
No, never.
So you're finding business studies interesting?
Yes.
Okay. So anyways, this is just the start. You will start loving the subject and this will become your favorite thing. Just now try to mark the similar, same time keep on marking the key points in the book also. And then connect with your own examples and stories and then write it. And for you, anyways, Anandini and Srinija, you're studying in advance, so I'm not telling you much to do it right now. Just enjoy the flow of the classes. Anyways, you have to work hard when you go back. So you need not mark, just read each and every part and give me. Okay. And then thank you. I'm not starting with the next because the next topic is very big. And so I'm going to end the meeting. It would have, okay, maybe. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.